Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as you can see, we are back on F1 2021 as always. And this video, I was actually going to release on Friday, but I really think that it couldn't wait. This is my attempt of trying to set the world record at the new circuit, Jeddah, if I've even said that right. And this is the process from start to finish. And it was a big journey for myself to improve this track. So this video is going to be very long. It will really give you a complete perspective, as I always say, of basically not knowing anything to then becoming quite good at the track. So I'm going to let you enjoy my first lap, and then I will be back with the commentary afterwards. Alright, so let's do this. What? Graphics look like they've changed a lot. Where are we going? This is the reason why I don't like the full map, because okay, this is the main straight. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. See, you can tell I haven't played this game. Let me sort out my MFD. I've been away for a weekend, so haven't played this game for a few days. Okay. I'm just going to take it nice and slow. Okay. What on earth is that corner? This is why I don't like the full track map sometimes, because it's really hard to see. I'm not even beating the default ghost. Right, okay, this is a really weird track so far. What on earth is this corner? What is this? I can't see anything. What? It's just like, it's giving me Vietnam Suzuka vibes at the moment. I don't know if it's a right or left coming up. Okay, this bit's easy. Okay. This is going to take me a long time to learn this. Okay, so turn one's like a Vietnam kind of turn one. So as you can see, that was my first ever lap that I've done around this circuit, and honestly, I have not watched a single hot lap of this track. I did not know the layout or anything whatsoever. I really wanted to go into this completely blind. Because unlike other tracks such as Imola and Portimao that have been released, I already knew the layout of those tracks. Imola, I've driven in 2013, although it was on the controller, but I still driven it. So, but this track here, this is really, I just really wanted to give people a real perspective of me just completely not knowing anything about a track, and then trying to improve over time. So you may note by this video length that it's a very long video, and a lot of people do say they enjoy the longer videos, but hopefully this is not too long. But I felt it was quite important to show quite a lot of raw footage, especially the slower laps where I'm really just trying to get my bearings around this circuit. Because as I said many times, and I probably sound like a broken record, I think it's very daunting, especially for new players or players who are not as skilled or experienced as others, to look at some of these laps and lap times and think, oh my god, how do these people do it? And I just want to show those people that you have to start somewhere. When I first started playing F1, I was probably a little bit better than the average player, because some people start off at different levels. Not everyone does start off the same level, but they definitely are not at their best when they start, and it's a process, and it takes time and patience and experience, and to get to that extra top 1%, then of course you need the natural talent to do that. But
really helped me.
I just really wanted to show people that how much you can improve with the time and dedication, and this applies to everything, not just this specific track, but just becoming a better player overall throughout the F1 games. It's a journey, and you pick up a lot of things along the way. No one is a perfect driver, which some people might argue against that, but I think there is no such thing as a perfect driver. There's no such thing as a perfect anything. So I really wanted to give people a sense of my experience at learning this track, and you can see that we are really, really struggling. We switched to the mini map on the bottom left, as I was saying before. And the reason why I've done that, because the full map is useful for league races when like the safety car and stuff comes out. But I always used to use the mini map quite a lot.
It's much better, it's like this.
And I think it's much easier to get your bearings. You can quickly look down below and see which corner's coming up, if it's a right or left. You get a much better accurate view to see how tight the corner is. With the full map, sometimes when you're coming back on yourself, your brain has to think in reverse, and it's very, very hard to judge how much more straight you have before a braking zone. So I would really recommend people to turn on the mini map when they are learning a track, and also the ghost as well, which is something I think I have done here, or if not, I will be doing very, very soon. So as we come round the last corner now,
the esport drivers, I think, someone said Jan posted a low 26, but he would have had this track for quite a while. They have it in esports. I'm pretty sure they have it in esports in one of the rounds.
And I can confirm they don't actually have it in esports, so that was
he would have
not
been
accurate
this for a while.
But some people do get the tracks earlier than others. I think the esports drivers do get the build slightly earlier than some other people, well, the general public. But I think Liana did a low 26, and at the time of this, a very low 26 would be a very, very
that doesn't give me enough track.
Good time. But you can see we are really, really struggling with this track at the moment. Understanding the track limits, because I kept on saying they were inconsistent, but a lot of people very rightly pointed out to me that the track limits, because of where the curb is positioned, is actually fairly accurate. So that's something I really needed to get used to.
Not give you any,
and as I said before, I didn't watch any
every few laps. I'll just stop
any hot lap from any other drivers online, or
just spam if it gives you any corner cuts,
or in real life. I really wanted to go into this blind to really make it as difficult as possible. So I really hope this video is useful and hopefully motivating to people who are around like 3 or 4 seconds off other people at the top. But it takes time, and you pick up things along the way, and you're not going to improve by a second or so each lap, as we do improve by 8 tenths there. But especially people who have not as much experience, you need to make those small goals, and then you'll find over time you will achieve them much easier.
Yeah, very, very strange.
As I was saying there, the flow of this track feels very, very strange to me. I did a video on why it's not great for racing, which I do stand by to a degree, but for qualifying and over a lap, it is quite exciting to get up. But I think that is the case with quite a lot of tracks when you really do hook it up nicely. But you can see we've actually turned on the Ghost now. Our fastest lap is a 29.8. We are running no setup at this stage, as I always typically do, and this is something I advise quite heavily, is to go out on the preset setup, not loading anything in, and just understand the track first. Get a good banker with that, because that will actually give you a lot of confidence when you do put on the setup. And also something I've been doing, which you haven't really seen that much here, is that if you do invalidate or you do make a big mistake, then just keep going, because that is the only way I feel for myself to really learn something and to really get it built into my brain, is to do that constant repetition by practicing the whole thing. Sometimes it's good to practice specific corners, but if you only practice specific corners, or anything, then when you do the rest of it, it's a little bit more alien to you. So I really do recommend just keep on going, even if you spin out, to really get that muscle memory down into each track. But we do a 29.0 now with no setup, with the equal red ball, and I thought that was good enough to then go on to using a setup. So we'll go use this guy's setup, who is near the top of the leaderboard, and you will see how much of a difference this setup does make. So
now we're trying to set up, so
I'm going to see how much of an improvement I can make, but we're still over 2 seconds behind of what we need to do. But you can see here already a lot more oversteery than what I'm used to, and you're about to see here now. This again is a very, very important point, is that you really do have to find setups that work for you. Just because the number one on the leaderboard is using theirs doesn't mean it's going to be good for you, and vice versa. And in this video, I think you all will see that very, very well, and this is something I really encourage a lot of drivers. And I think this is what makes great drivers as well, is being able to understand what is needed in the setup based on your driving style, and then tailor it to you, because everyone, whether you like it or not, is not an identical driver. Everyone has their own slight differences. No matter how minuscule, no one is really identical to each other. And you can see here now,
this setup feels so oversteery. It's crazy.
I always try and stick with a setup for a good 2 to 3 laps before I change it. So I always like to give it a chance, because sometimes, again, I have people say to me who use my setups, they say, oh, this is undrivable or anything at all. Sometimes you do have to give it a chance, and then maybe even adjust your driving style, because sometimes the really quick setups or the really quick times are with setups that are really driven on a knife edge, kind of like what Max Verstappen probably does in real life, where his teammates can't use his setups, but he can, and it might feel very, very understeery or oversteery to many different people, but you've got to figure out what works for you. So I would always give it a chance, maybe adapt your driving style to see if you can improve your driving first, and if you can't, and you know what you need in your own driving, then that's when you can start to make the changes. But you can see here now, getting used to this up a little bit more, so we're improving by 7 tenths, which is a healthy margin on the Delta. So see, we're slowly starting to get this track now. Going through into here, you can run really off this track completely, but still...
How did we save that?
Very, very oversteery for me, and I really like a car that is stable, and when I put my foot down, I know it's going to be planted. That's the kind of car I like to drive. So this one felt a bit twitchy for me, but we are still in the process of learning this track, so I think there's still more to come with my own driving, but then also from the setup. So we do it at 27.9. You can see we're improving again by 2 and a bit tenths, not going tight at the moment, so that's sometimes useful to have the ghost if you can't watch anything on YouTube or anything at all, to see what kind of lines people are doing. And going across the line now, we do a 27.6. So we're slowly making progress, and this is what you will typically find. You will find by just improving that 10th or 2 each lap, it just gives you that confidence, because you've been able to do the lap now. You know what it takes in order to actually do that. So you can see again, up by another 2 tenths, getting a fairly good exit off this last corner. And what is this going to be? This is going to be a low 27, so it's a 27.3. And this was the first day of the time trial, and the fastest time I think was a 26.7 at this stage. So we're definitely getting to where we need to be, really starting to learn the track now. I'm at the stage now where I didn't really have to look at the mini-map as much. So coming through into here, I think this would be actually my fastest lap I did on the first day, because this video is separated into 2 separate parts. You could really completely just extend that corner, which is a little bit disappointing. Going through the first sector, a 30.3. Still over a tenth and a bit down, and I'm not gonna lie, the first day I was actually quite struggling with this circuit. I was thinking that it would suit my style, but I was really struggling to understand where I'm losing all the time compared to the people at the top who are doing like almost mid 26s. So coming through into here now, doing this actually very, very well, doing that really well. And do we stay tight here? I believe this might be the first time
another corner
we do stay tight. So yeah, that will minimize the distance of the track. So you will gain a few hundredths by doing that. It does make it a little bit awkward, but go quite wide into this last corner. Still get a good exit though. And this is actually going to be in the 26s. So this gave me a lot of confidence on the first day. But fast forward to the day after, you can see change of clothes, another fresh day, being able to go to sleep and really reset that mind muscle connection that you need. And between this, I'd actually driven in open lobbies quite a lot, and I think that's another very useful tool to get used to the track, because especially when you're overtaking people and going against people, having to break offline, really understand your reference points much more. It really forces you to know exactly where you need to go. And here again, an example, I made a mistake, but I'm just going to keep going because I know it's important to understand the rest of the track here. So we're still...
Whoa, shit. Fuck. That's what happens when you switch wheel modes on a direct drive. I switched to a completely different wheel modes. Oh my god.
And yeah, that literally shook the bones out of my body. This is my first lap back in the TT, and I accidentally switched it to a different wheel profile on the maximum settings, which is really not what you want when you use a direct drive wheel. But you can see here again, this is actually my first lap, so 26.9 as we did the day before. But as I was saying, sometimes you need to step away and come back fresh, because sometimes if you just keep on going and going for 3 or 4 hours, it's really hard to reset your muscle memory and your driving technique. It's really, really hard to do that, so I really encourage people to do that as well. But between this, as I said, we were doing open lobbies, and I felt like I started to understand the track a lot more. We're currently using, I think, Sparks' setup, who is, I feel, is probably the legit number one on this TT, because he's using the equal Red Bull with no assists. So we're using his setup, and as I said before, you really have to find what works for you. And when I started using this setup, it just didn't feel
I remember my last corner was quite
that
bad.
great to me. It felt unstable in some corners, but then understeer in others.
27.1 first lap,
And I was using quite low wings online, which I think is definitely the way to go around this circuit for the straight line speed and recouping the ERS. So you can see on that corner there, we lost the traction, but in other corners it's actually quite understeery. So going through into here, it's really washing away. You can see we're not even improving on our own fastest lap, which I expected to blitz quite quickly, considering that was on the first day and this was the day after. So definitely struggling a bit more. We're still half a tenth down, so still haven't improved here. And I think Sparks did a 26.2, so we're still 7 tenths away. So I really expected a big improvement, but sometimes when you use someone else's setup who's done a very good time, it just doesn't work. And this is what I was feeling with this setup. You see, get a good exit, but again, I like a car that's planted, and it feels like it could snap at any time. So if we go back into the setups again, I decided to download someone else's to see if it's a little bit different. Someone like Shadow, who again is a very, very fast driver on this game, and he's using slightly higher front wing, and the rest is fairly similar to what Sparks was running here. So we're going to give this a go. See, doing a 27.1, so still not improving on what we were doing yesterday. And this was a little bit disheartening to me, because I was expecting, with the improvement of these setups and the day after, to beat this quite comfortably. So going through into here, so we are going green at stage, but now we're losing a bit of time, and it's just washing away. It just didn't feel like it went where I wanted it to go. And you can see we're 700ths down on what we did yesterday. So coming through into here, washing away again, so not going into apex. So obviously in a perfect world, you want a car where it goes exactly where you want and the back end stays in check. That's what I try and achieve with my setups, but also about how you manage the tyres and the ERS of them. So I gave this a couple of laps. I went back in the pits again,
like the track limits.
And then I decided to actually make my own setup. So since of my experience with the game, and especially on this game now, considering how long it's been out, I feel like I know what works for me. So I was going to load in one of my own setups, but then I decided to actually just go ahead and change it myself, because in open lobbies I felt having low wings was very, very powerful around here, and it gives you a little bit more stability as well. So we decided to put it down to 8.5 wings, increasing the off diff so it doesn't over rotate when you come off the throttle, and lowering the suspension, increasing the ride height, so making it a little bit more stable. So this should be, with the wings in the way that they were doing, it should make it a much more pointy and faster in a straight line, which is what I feel I needed at this stage. So you can see we've made those changes and we've gone straight out. And again, this is this perfect example of when you understand the setups and what works for you, of how much of a difference it can really, really make. So this is our very first lap with the setup. I don't know how it's going to feel so far. So coming to, I'm doing exactly the same thing. Coming into here, you can see we're over a 10th up already. Lost a little bit of time there, but we're going to gain it back on the straight. So 700's up. Perfect start so far. And I felt immediately that this was going exactly where I wanted to go. You can see the car is much more responsive, with the front wing much higher than the rear wing. Makes it much more pointy and faster straight line. 1.5 tenths up already. So a very, very big improvement on our PB. And then the back end is also relatively stable as well, because we lowered that suspension. Lowering it, making it softer, will provide better traction. And that's exactly what we've done. You can see the straight line speed is coming into effect now, gaining quite a bit of time. And in a race situation, this would be extremely beneficial. So coming through here, let's see what we can do. Still being able to attack the corners. Lost a bit of time there, but I don't think I executed that too well. But in a race situation as well, the tyre wear is very, very low around here, so you don't need the high downforce necessarily. Let's see what we can do. Going quite wide into this last corner, but getting quite a good exit. You can see with the straight line speed is helping us out very nicely, and this is going to be an easy improvement to a 26.8 now. And I was very, very happy with just that small change of how big a difference it can make. And some people would probably use this and find it not possible, but for me it just works so well. So you can see we're lowering the off diff, so a little bit more rotation in the slow speed, keeping the suspension the same at the moment. I think we increased the rear wing just a little bit and improving the front toe. That will give me a little bit more grip in the high speed corners. So coming through into here now, again, this is the first time I've actually used this setup change, and you can see immediately gaining the time with the slightly higher rear wing, giving that a little bit more traction. Now being a bit more aggressive coming into here, and you can see we're going 800 up over here. So this is looking much, much better. Coming through into this now, can be a lot more aggressive on these, and you can see over or just about a 10th up going through this first sector. So understanding what I needed on these changes is really, really helping me, knowing that I can go on the throttle nice and early. You can see we get some very good traction coming off this corner, trying to throw this car in once again. And how much time do we make up? Making up quite a bit of time, losing it a little bit on the exit now in the straight line speed, but I was hoping I could throw in a lot more speed coming through into the left-hander. So let's see what we do here. As you hit the last brake marker board, you can see gaining just a fraction amount of time, but in this last corner we know that we can gain a lot of time because we actually did it quite poorly. So stay nice and tight, aiming for between the 100 and the 50 meter board. Let's see how much time we gain, and it was actually a pretty poor corner
Improve again, but such a bad
in the end. So we know there's a lot more time, and now we do a 26.7, which would have been fast enough for the world record, very close to the world record on the first day. So once you start hitting these good lap times, this is something I said before, you will find that you're just able to then hit that lap time consistently. And if you're hitting it consistently, then that shows that the setup is a good setup that works for you. And that's something that really helps me in the race, is being able to do a lap time consistently. And you can see we're going up by 400ths once again going into this last corner. It's just all about making those small goals. If you hit that lap time target, which you didn't hit before, then you know that you can just keep on doing it. You have the ability to do it. And it's really about confidence. And once you have that confidence, you will find you break that plateau and you just keep on doing it and doing it. So we do a 26.6 now, knowing that I can still gain quite a bit of time. And you can see here that we are just lapping very consistently at this stage, constantly doing 0.6 and a 0.7. So coming through into this first turn, really can attack those curves, but getting a very good exit coming off here. And I try to go down into 5th gear, 50 meter board, trying to cut this corner, go as far right as you possibly can into left hand. You want to be completely flat out, almost through into this section. You try to ride this curve rather than kiss it. And you can see we've got such a good exit coming in. First time into the 29s into this first sector now. So hit the 50 meter board once again. Try and carry as much speed as you possibly can, just skimming the wall on the outside and 1.5 tenths up. So this is a very good lap. 50 meter board again, that's what you'll be looking for. Hook the car on the inside. Cannot stress that enough. You really do need to do that going through the left-hander.
Send it now.
Now into this one. This corner you can kind of extend quite a lot on the exit of this corner. 50 meter board again, so really aiming for those 50 meter boards quite a lot. Avoid this curb on the inside and stay nice and tight going into this last corner, because it will gain you quite a bit of time if you stay tight here. This corner will be breaking about 75 meters out, 70 meters out, hooking the inside, avoiding the wall on the exit, which you just about do, and then getting the DRS again. Let's see what this lap time is going to be. It's going to be a 26.5. So over time, you slowly get there. And again, I really hope with this video, because of how long it is, which hopefully people don't mind, is that for most people it does take a lot of time, unless you're maybe Yana Watmir or someone else who is just an absolute freak over lap as well. Most people, they're not going to be able to do that. You have to set those small goals and do it. And for me, going into this track completely blind, which I think definitely didn't help me at the beginning, it's a process, and you just have to be patient. And if you can have that mindset, then you will achieve these goals. So you can see, getting a very good exit up here now. Let's see what lap time this is going to be. And it's a 26.3. So really making progress. Starting off from about 28 minutes ago, how slow we were, to now showing you my fastest lap. And it really can show you of how much you can improve when you put your mind to it. So I'm going to talk through this lap, and I hope you enjoy this. But the setup will be at the end of this video as well. So coming into this turn one, we'll be braking just before the curb. Ride the curb at the inside for the left and the right. Try and get on the traction. You can see this is a pretty poor sector. Half a tenth down. Just before the 50 meter board. Really cutting the inside of this corner. Stay as far right as you possibly can. Hooking the car on the inside for both of these. Be completely flat out. As you hit the white line, that's where you'll be turning in. Ride this curb on the inside, and we get a very good exit. Now, looking into this 50 meter boards, as you hit that, stay nice and tight. Don't let the car drift out too wide. Short shifting into 5th gear to maximize the traction. Now you will be looking for the 50 meter board on the left hand side as you pass that, hitting this curb, hooking the car on the inside as we discussed before. And now it's just about threading the car through the needle through here, just trying to not scrub off any speed. Look on the right hand side for the 50-meter board. As you hit that, that's where you'll be turning nice and early. You can extend that corner on the outside. Make sure you hit the DRS sign and then stay nice and tight and braking really between the two final brake marker balls. So you hit this one in between them. That's where you'll be braking. Hit the curb on the inside if you can. Avoid the water, the exit. Get on the DRS right as you hit it here. Stay nice and tight to minimize the distance. So what time is this going to be? It's a 26.254. Almost the world record, I would say, personally. And that could show you how much you can improve. So I really hope that has helped people, motivated people to believe in themselves. And you can see how many people have attempted this as well. It's a very, very popular time trial right now. For myself, time trial is my weakness. So I was actually very happy with this. So we used 9.5 wings in the end. Just a little bit more of a pointy car. 156 right triple F for that stability. 152527. 150 and slight couple clicks down on the front tire pressures just to give that little bit more rotation before that mechanical grip. And yeah, that is my experience at Jeddah. I think we can definitely get the outright rail record as well. I think really that first sector is why I lose the most amount of time. If we could do that very well, then I think we could get a 26, maybe even a high 25 on Xbox. I think is very, very possible. So I really hope you enjoyed that experience. I really want to give people a true perspective of what it takes and just showing that you have to start somewhere as well. Thank you so much for your support on my channel. Make sure you follow me on Twitch for my daily open lobbies and streaming that I do. Also joining my YouTube membership to access to my updated setups. You get to talk to me on a daily basis, ask me any question you want, and you get first priority invite to my open lobbies. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you're having a great day, and I will catch you soon. Peace.